Hey, what up, Backyard Ninja Kid fam? We are here to encourage, educate, and engage kids of all ages to get out and have some fun. Today we are going to focus on the encouragement piece because the kids with confidence seem to be dominating all the obstacles. To get a little more insight on this, we asked our friend Dr. Kira Werstein, a sports and exercise psychologist at Iowa State University, to share a little insight on how we can better, as coaches and parents and friends, encourage each other. Let's check it out.
That's right, Scott. Confidence is a strong predictor of sport performance. Research shows that people with higher confidence tend to get involved in more challenging tasks, set higher goals, persist longer in the face of failure and adversity, and achieve at higher levels. They also enjoy their experience to a greater degree than those with low confidence. As you can see in the self-confidence model, there's 4 main predictors of confidence that we as parents and coaches can target in order to help increase confidence in an athlete or a ninja. The first, past performance accomplishments, is the strongest predictor of confidence. When athletes have successful experiences, like for example, they do their first unassisted pull-up, this grows their belief in their ability to do that skill and like skills again in the future. So it's important to set athletes up for success. We don't want to have them attempt tasks that we know that they can't do right now, but instead, if they have a goal to do something that's very challenging for them, a way that we can grow their confidence in their ability to do that eventually is by breaking it down into smaller chunks that are more manageable and modified versions of that ultimate goal. It's also important to note that it's actual performance accomplishments that grows and builds confidence, not just a participation ribbon that everyone gets for showing up. The second predictor of confidence that we can target is called vicarious experience. This is when an athlete sees someone else execute or have a successful experience, make an achievement. This increases their belief that they can do it too. It's most effective when the model is like them. It's not as effective when, for example, you as the coach execute the monkey bars. They think, well, sure, you can do it. You're the coach. A better way would be if little Johnny can't do the monkey bars yet. He sees little Billy complete the monkey bars for the first time. Johnny thinks to himself, okay, if Billy can learn the monkey bars, I think I can learn too. The third predictor of confidence is verbal persuasion. The words we use are powerful. We can speak encouragement into an athlete with praise, or we can discourage them with criticism. Younger athletes need more positives than older athletes. The ratios, according to research, are that youth athletes need 7 positives for every 1 corrective feedback. Adolescents need 4 positives to 1 correction, and more elite level athletes can handle a 1-to-1 ratio. It's important to note also that when we're giving that feedback, we want to use what's called the positive sandwich approach. This is where we take some encouragement, then give our instruction, and finish with another type of encouragement. So we're sandwiching that correction, that instruction between 2 positives. It might sound something like this. That was great effort, Billy. On the next set, let's pump your arms to get higher off the ground. I know you can do it. The final predictor of confidence is physical and affective states, which means how we feel physically and emotionally affects our confidence. If an athlete feels really fatigued from doing lots of pull-ups, monkey bar, and rope climb, if we then ask them to try out the pegboard for the first time, their confidence may be a little bit lower because they're feeling physically fatigued from all of the work that they already did earlier that day. So we want to note that if we want to try a skill for the first time, or if we have an important competition approaching, a way to enhance confidence is to make sure that our athletes are feeling rested and energized. So to recap, coaches and parents can have a strong influence on the confidence of athletes. We can help grow that confidence in them when we set them up for success, when we have them relive their previous successes and past accomplishments, and when we speak encouragement and praise into them. Thanks so much for having me, Scott.
Wow, that was awesome. Kira, thank you so much for sharing that information. I loved hearing the ratios, how my boys need a lot more ratios than other athletes. I need to remember that because sometimes I feel like I don't give them enough grace. So let's take that on. If you guys want to see some other videos on how we encourage, educate, and engage kids of all ages, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Hit this like button if you liked it. Don't forget to share this video with other coaches It's important. Let's get out there, encourage each other, and have some fun. See ya!
I'm Craig Sigel, the mental toughness trainer for youth athletes, and I specialize in helping youth athletes master the pressure to get to that next level in their sport. And I wanted to share with you 4 simple strategies youth athletes can use to master that pressure. So the next time they're heading into a highly stressful, pressure-packed situation, they are mentally ready and prepared for it. Strategy number 1. They need to practice being in pressure in their imagination. So when they experience it in real life, they are ready. Before going to sleep at night or while daydreaming throughout the day, they should imagine being in a high-pressure situation and coming through with flying colors. Pre-living in as much detail as possible how they want to be thinking at that critical moment of truth. They want to practice using positive self-talk like, I can do this. I'm a clutch player. I want the ball. Give me the ball. Imagine being intense but not nervous. Passionate yet calm. Strategy number 2. They need to decide to focus on the physical aspects of the game that make them successful. And they do this by concentrating their mind on the keys to good skill execution and the game plan that the coach has designed. And they've got to stop thinking about winning and losing. You see, your mind's like a computer with a lot of computing power, and you've got to give it something positive to do. And this is what distracts it away from the thoughts that create pressure. Keeping the mind busy stops it from going negative on you. Pressure isn't real. It's something that you create from your thinking. It comes or goes by making a choice on what you decide to focus on. Keep your focus on your strategy, routines, and game plan to defeat pressure. Strategy number 3. Master the fear by being in the present moment. Think about it for a second. Fear in sports does not exist in the present moment. It gets created by thinking about past mistakes or worrying about possible future failures. Anytime an athlete feels fear, they need to get into the present by directing their attention to their 5 senses. For instance, feeling the floor, the ground underneath their feet, hearing the noises in the room or the gym, seeing their teammates playing the game, using your eyes. It can be very powerful if practiced regularly. It can be done anywhere and anytime, and especially at crunch time in competition, and instantly you'll feel that pressure just fade away when you get in the present moment. Now the final strategy is to understand that it's an and world. Now what does that mean? It means that the athlete accepts what they are feeling and stops fighting it. So how do you do this? Well, you say to yourself something like, wow, look at that. I'm feeling some pressure. That's interesting. Well, I'm kind of curious about that. Well, guess what? I can feel this pressure and come through with a stellar performance. I can feel this fear and still do what I need to do to win. Now, all of us have experienced times in our lives where we felt scared and did it anyway. Well, saying the word and, it allows your mind to just go with it instead of fighting it. Even the greatest athletes in the world feel pressure, and they still go out and win while feeling it. You can too. So I hope you can now see how important it is to learn, develop, and practice your mental skills. Now these strategies will work, but to really see big changes in your athlete's performance, it's critical that they get this knowledge from their heads and into their bodies. And to make this happen, I created a special Master the Pressure guided visualization for your athletes. Let them listen before their next big game or event and watch their performance skyrocket. And just enter your email in the sign-up box to get the guided visualization and get them started. They can listen to it on their computer, their cell phone, or their iPod, whenever and wherever it works for them. For you parents, I put together the 10 Commandments to be a great sports parent. This is an ebook that gives you answers on how to talk to your kids after a loss and other great tips for parents. You and your athlete will also get a lot more mental toughness tips like this from me. So put your email in the sign-up box and let's get started now. I'm Craig Sigel, the mental toughness trainer for youth athletes. Welcome to the winner's circle, and let's master that pressure.
Hey guys, welcome to this high impact workout. Now I'm joined on the mat today with my friends Cynthia and Brittany, and we're wearing our incredible lightweight Max Sports Bra. Let's get started. All right guys, we're gonna start with high knees for our warm up, dropping those knees nice and high. Looking good. Keep those knees nice and high, guys. That's why we call them high knees. Utilize those arms. Here we go, here we go. Now, pull it down, riding on the spot, nice and easy. Toe taps just side to side here. Next we have is butt kicks. So get ready for it. 3, 2, 1, butt kicks. Now if you need to, hold yourself accountable. Keep those heels driving to that butt. Remember, this is just our warm up. So breathe through. Doing good. 3, 2, 1, okay, we're just on the spot again. Small intervals here, we can catch our breath before we move on to the next. Scissor steps are next. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Now just nice little quick scissor steps. Don't forget those arms. And that breath, control that breath.
Starting to feel a burn.
Good, right? How we doing, Brittany?
Good.
Good, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, again, right on the spot, guys. Right here, again, catch your breath. I know it's tough, just that warm up. Stick in there, here we go. Next, we're gonna do some alternating high toe touches. Here we go, ladies, nice and high. Be mindful of your breath, guys. Looking good, fam. Let's go. In 3, 2, 1. Back on the spot, guys. Again, catch your breath here. This is our warm up. So we'll make sure blood flow is going. Be mindful of your breath. Gonna move right into squat jumps. Here we go. I'm gonna step off my mat just for a bit more leverage. Right into it, guys. Yeah, find a pace that works for you.
Even the modifications are killing.
Yeah, looks good. Low impact. Brittany's doing a nice low impact for us. Mindful of your breath, guys. Almost done, almost done. All right, in 3, 2, and 1. Okay, running back on the spot. We're almost there. Here we go, here we go. If you're doing this right, you should be hearing your breath. Now, back into squats, right? So squat, and we're gonna pulse right here, guys. Good, so these are called squat pulses. Slow down. Mindful of your breath, guys. Here we go, almost done. Counting you down from 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Here we go, running on the spot, last 10. Doing good, guys. Here we go, here we go. Wonderful. 3, 2, 1. Nice, warm up complete. Ladies, get a sip of water. We have the first circuit coming up. How we feeling?
Good.
Feeling good?
Warm.
Cynthia? All right, here. First circuit. Reverse lunges with a buddy squat combo. So guys, it's basically reverse lunge, single leg, right? Come together, then we're going to squat. All right, in 3, 2, 1, here we go. Good, and squat again. Good. Now with these guys, you wanna make sure that when you lunge back, you get nice and deep in your lunge. Brittany will be giving you a modification that's a little less deep. That's good. And you keep your squats nice and deep. Give me 2 more here. Good. Wonderful. Last one. Chest up, deep squat. Now we're gonna run on the spot. Again, this is where you catch your breath. Okay, essentially this is where we rest. An active rest. I know, right?
That was a lot.
Doesn't even sound right. We're gonna move on to a lateral crab shuffle with a jump next. Let me show you what that looks like. Far left of your mat, we're going to come into squat position. Step 1, 2, right into a jump. And again, good, and a jump. So together in squat. Good, time is going, guys. Nice, stay low. Jump, good.
The burn.
It burns, it's supposed to. Good, here we go, chest up, guys, chest up. Good, time is coming. Let's go, one more. Perfect, now running on the spot. Here you go, Brittany, how you feeling?
Good.
Good, Hallie. Really good. Next, we're gonna turn this into a front lunge, into a body squat. So right here, catch your breath. Be mindful, stay focused, stay with us. Here we go, so front lunge. So it's 1, 2, into a squat. Again. Into a squat. Good. Cynthia, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
Holding on.
Holding on. Nice. A few more here, guys. Before we move right back into our running on the spot, which is where we catch our breath. Looks good. One more here. Good. Running on the spot. Running on the spot. Again, catch your breath here, guys.
I really felt that one.
You felt that one?
Yeah.
Good. Quadriceps should be burning. Everybody's looking good. Again, this is where you catch your breath. So be mindful, stay focused, and stay with us. Here we go. We're gonna move right into some jumping lunges and a squat combo. So it's gonna be a jumping lunge right into a squat. Jumping lunge, squat. Good. Here we go. Brittany's giving us a modified version where she's giving us a front lunge, and a squat. Perfect. Here we go. A few more, guys. You're doing great. Here we go. 1. Good. Here we go. Stick with it, guys. Woo. One more. Nice. There you go. Soccer 1 done.
Yeah.
By all means, get your towel, look cute again. Get some water. How we feel?
Went by faster than I thought.
Right. All right, we're gonna move right into the second circuit. After you rest, catch your breath, and have a sip of water. All right, second circuit, guys. Whew. How you feeling out there? You still with us? Legs should feel a nice little burn.
Yeah.
But we're gonna move on. Second circuit, we're gonna do kneeling get-ups. So we actually, for this one, gonna start on our knees. I'm gonna ask that you put your hands behind your head, right, elbows out. I never wanna see you come in, because it means that your neck's gonna curl in, and your form is gonna be all bad. So elbows out, kneeling, stand up, and you're gonna stay low, okay? Come back down to starting position. Again. Good, the chest is up and not curled in, but always up and open. Brittany is giving us another modified version. Brittany, how you doing over there?
Good.
Good. Into a straight stand up?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Cynthia, you good?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 2 more here, guys. Wonderful. 1 more, come on, guys. We're in this together. Looks good. Awesome, come to your feet. You're gonna give me 10 seconds running on the spot. Woo! Here we go. You catching your breath up just fine, guys?
good.
Yeah? I have a serious sweat happening. I hope it's the same thing at home. All right, we're gonna go right into jump squats. Okay, what we love the most. Now, find a good pace in this. All right, we're doing this for a little while. So you never wanna rush through. You wanna make sure you hinge at the hips and sit back. Knees should never surpass the toes. Jump up, chest open. Looks good. Breathe through it, guys. For a low impact modification, Brittany here is just giving us a nice body squat while squeezing her glutes up top. Here we go, 3 more. Looks good. Wonderful. Nice, 10 seconds, right on the spot. Again, guys, this is where you catch your breath. So be in this moment, stay present, but let your body relax. Ooh, I might have to do the same. Good. Looks good. Riding on the spot. Then we're gonna move into sumo squats and half burpees. This is what that looks like. Let's go on the mat. Sumo squat, nice and wide, knees over the toes. Come down, right? Hands to the mat. Half burpee, come back, stand up. Again, down. Up, good. Looks good, guys. Sweat is dripping.
Out of breath.
You're out of breath.
Legs are feeling it.
Legs are burning. Good. A few more here, guys. Woo. 2 more. Looks good. Down. Wonderful. Here we go. Running on the spot. This is it. Get your breath back. Almost done here. In 3, 2, 1. Nice. There we go. Second circuit. Done. We're gonna do 2 rounds of this. So get comfortable. Sip some water if you need it. Use your towel if you need it. Walk it out if you need to. But we're doing that all over again. Whew.
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Feeling good, guys?
Feeling good.
If you're anything like me, I feel accomplished, but I feel tired. But we're in this together. Second round, starting from the very top. Kneeling get-ups. So we're all on our mats. Hands behind the head. You know what to do. Here we go. And back down. You notice again that my elbows are nice and wide. Never in. Good. Now find a good pace, because if you rush through this, the lactic acid in your quadriceps will definitely build up. You might just luck out and roll over. And we don't want you to do that. No. Here we go. So stick with it.
I find it helps if I look forward
Yeah?
to stop caving in. Yeah.
Wonderful. Keeps the chest nice and open, right, Cynthia?
Yeah.
Good. Here we go. Almost done, guys. Give me 2 more, 2 more. Let's go. Looks good, looks good. All right, on your feet, guys. We're running on the spot. Your rest, your active rest. Woo, here we go. What we got next is our jump squats. That's right, your favorite. Here we go. And 3, 2, 1. Jump squats. Again, a tip. You need to find a pace that works for you. You notice I'm not jumping through the roof. It's maybe a jump, no more than 1 inch or 2 off the ground. Here we go. You feel this, guys. I know you feel it. I know you do, because I do. Couple more, let's go. Good. Running on the spot, guys. Almost done. Woo! Guys, you ready for these sumo squats?
Oh yeah.
Half burpees. That almost seems evil. Again, catch your breath. This is where it happens. Refuel. All right, sumo squats to the mat. Nice and deep. Coming down. Pop out. Woo, stand up, squat deep. There you go. Woo. That's good, guys, keep going.
This feels great.
And horrible at the same time, right?
I'm a
Good.
little bit afterwards. Your
Almost
words, not
done.
ours.
Couple more, guys, couple more. Last one. There we go. Running on the spot, 10 seconds till we finish this circuit. Woo. Here we go, here we go.
All right.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, done.
Yeah.
Like I said, walk it out if you need to. Use your towel if you need to. And that would be me. Sip some water.
My heart's racing already.
Yeah, definitely. We're burning calories, toning muscles. And we love that, huh? Okay, we have the third circuit. Are you ready? How those legs feel? All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with some glute bridges. We're gonna work the booty. All right, so we come down to our mats. All right, so the deal is, keep your heels close to your butt, all right? Head planted down on the mat, hands down on the ground, and push through those hands. What you're gonna do is hip bone to the ceiling, comes up, ladies, good. Squeeze up top, bring it down nice and controlled. Here we go. So this is a good one because we get to slow things down a little bit. There's no plyo involved here, but we're really getting our glutes a really good squeeze, good contraction. So working those glutes looks good. And you never wanna rush through these. Honor these by really squeezing up top, hips to the ceiling. Good, a few more here, guys. You're doing great. Good. Squeeze. Here we go, a couple more. Nice. One more. Squeeze. Awesome. Transition, we're gonna come up. Flip it open, and then in plank position. Okay, from here, we're gonna do some plank jacks. And what is that? We're gonna be in plank position, and then we're gonna pulse out with our legs and bring it back in. All right, here we go, guys. Now Brittany's doing a modified version, where she's just stepping out to the side. So we eliminate that plyometric move and do a step out. Doesn't mean she's working any less.
Still feel my abs.
I'm sure you do. Here we go, guys. Keep it going, all you. Couple more. Wonderful. There you go, stand out if you need to. Open the chest if you need to. Here's your transition. We're doing knee to elbow. So back in plank position, right? What we're gonna do now is drive our knee to our elbow. All right, alternating left and right. Now Brittany will be on her knees and do the same thing, right? Knees to elbow. So if that's you, by all means, come to your knees. Good, let's be here. Little focus. How you doing, Cynthia?
I feel the burn.
Yeah, me too. Two more. Good. Back to your knees. If you need to, stretch it out. All right, we're gonna transition into mountain climbers. Now, for the sake of friction, we're gonna do this off our mat. So ladies, hands on your mat, and mountain climbers from here, okay? Let's go. Now guys, find a good pace here. You don't wanna go too hard, because I want you to maintain. Now you notice that Brittany here is just driving her knee into her chest, taking it back down to starting position. This is a more modified version for more low impact workouts. Cynthia here, beasting out, knees to the chest, looks great doing it. All right, here we go, 5 more seconds. Good, good, come on. 3, 2, 1. Again, come to your knees, open up the chest, as much oxygen into those lungs as possible. We're then gonna transition to ankle touches. So we get to lay back on our backs.
Sounds good.
I know, almost there, guys.
All right.
Everybody's doing great. Again, so heels close to the butt. We're gonna pivot by contracting our core, coming off just ever so slightly from our shoulders, and then grabbing our ankles, or touching our ankles, if you will, side to side. Now you'll find that you can kind of get your breath back here too, guys. Just breathe and focus on achieving right? Because I always say, if it's easy, I don't want it. Don't waste my time. All right, here we go, almost done.
Oh, these obliques.
Yep, we're gonna crunch those obliques, our side muscles here. Keep going, couple more, almost done. And finish here. Ladies, I want you to come to your feet. We're not done yet. Last and final before we finish off the third circuit, we're gonna do fire feet. And what does that mean? A million taps on the ground. Maybe not literally, but let me show you what I mean. Here we go, so we're gonna go and get it nice and quick. Here we go. Brittany, here we go. Now if you're gonna put a slight bend in your knees to get it done, do that, okay? Here we go, keep going. Breathe, I know it's tough. Consider this the finish line. I'm with you. Keep going. Come on, ladies, we're in this together. Almost done. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice.
Yeah.
Again, walk that one out if you need to. Ladies, if you need a sip of water, go ahead and do that. And you might want to do that because we're going to finish off with what I call the lower body blast. Now, what is that? Several movements that I get to lead. All right, we're gonna start off with these lateral lunges. Starting on our right, perhaps your left. Ladies, you ready?
We're ready.
We're gonna finish strong here.
Yes, finish strong.
Here it goes, lateral lunge. Good. All in sync with me, let's do this together. Like a fit fam. Yeah, that's what we call ourselves. Good. Keep going. Woo. What comes next is a little squat. Be here, we're here together. Good, this leg's gonna burn. You're gonna feel it. One more here, guys. All right, buddy squat. Feet, shoulder width apart, come down. Squeeze glutes. Here we go. Oh, my thigh. Looks good. Thighs will be burning. Yeah, everybody's putting in great work. You two at home, stick with us. Couple more here, guys. Good. And again, one more time. Right into jump squats. You heard right, let's go. 1. Good, keep going. I know it burns. Remember, a few inches off the ground, if that. Nothing crazy. Brittany, you're doing a modified version to sticking with our squats. Almost done, 2 more. Last one. Right into squat pulses. Yes, here we go. Keep going. Oh, I know, this is a real burner. Not all the way up, not all the way down, guys, but just in that pulse, in this range right here. I know, lactic acid is crazy right now. Come on, 5 more, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna jump one last time, let's do it. We are almost done. I can see the finish line. Ooh. Ooh.
I'm with you, I'm with you, I'm with you.
I know you wanna stop, guys. But I ask that you give 110%. Keep going. 3 more. Woo! Here we go. All right, here we go. Last and final. Be in a squat. And you're gonna hold it right here. And most people need to pray about it. I don't know, whatever you got. Hold here, guys, hold. Nice and deep. If you're with us at home, your squat form is good. You're hinging back at the hips. Knees are not surpassing the toes. I'm gonna count you down from here, guys. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and done. Stand up, shake that out. Now, how do your legs feel? Brittany?
Burning.
Burning. So if you feel like us, guys, you've got a lower body workout complete in a super short amount of time. All right, so what we're gonna do now, because it's necessary, is stretch the lower half. So we'll keep this nice and easy, static motions. Go ahead, grab your ankle and pull through. Give your quad a nice stretch, driving your pull or where your foot is to your butt.
This feels good.
Yes, feels really
heart
good.
rate.
Good. It's all the way up. And I'm a sweaty mess. Hold opposite leg. Same thing on the other side. And if you're anything like me, balance is gonna be a little tricky. Whew. Exhaustion will do that. Now guys, you wanna hold a static stretch for at least 20 seconds. Okay, so do your best here. We're just cooling down, right? Next, we're gonna drive our knee to our chest, stretching our hamstring and glute. So again, ladies, if your balance is any good, you might have to help me out here. Here we go, just driving the knee to the chest.
Oh, it feels good.
Feel planted, feel present in your holds. Everybody did good, real good.
As you grow older, the need for speed increases, especially if you are a petrol head. Now you come into some money, standing on your own 2 feet. Now you need something to quench your thirst of wanting a fast hoon machine, but something which also gets you to the office sedately. The M5 is your first option, but you just got into money. You are not Ambani yet. You look around a bit more. Oh damn! The new VRS is coming out, but with that price tag, hell no. That's where this comes in, the Polo GTI. The front fascia of the GTI was truly special in 2017. It got a few red highlights here and there and these really special headlights. The sad part is, in 2020, every VW Polo comes with this bumper, but back then, the Polos had these ugly looking bumpers. But these bumpers are the ones to have even if you have a Polo now. The other thing I want to talk about is the honeycomb grille, which comes in the Polo today as well, but it's not as special, and the GTI badging. Beneath that, there's a red strip that goes across headlight to headlight, which makes it truly special. The side profile is where this car truly shines. Here is where you notice the small GTI badge, but it's got upsized tires and this long door that you can see here. This is what makes the GTI special. It's a 3-door. The rear of the VW GTI is also quite special in my opinion. It's got subtle touches that make it so special. It's got this subtle diffuser here, you can see the 2 tips, and this subtle black little spoiler as well. This is where the GTI actually shined the most in my opinion. It gets these really nice fabric seats that even the first Polo GTI ever in history got. It's got this beautiful red stitched flat bottom GTI steering wheels and my favorite, paddles. Apart from that, it's basically a VW product. Everything is where you expect it to be. It's got a really nice infotainment system, Apple CarPlay, you name it, it's got it. And I know you must be cursing me for boring you with these things and not doing what I'm actually supposed to be doing with this car. So the best part about this VW GTI is that it has D2 coilovers and it has a very nice exhaust system. It's also running a stage 2 map. That means if a stock GTI pulls up next to me, have fun watching my taillights. I really like the ride of this car, especially the seats. They hug you into place and make sure that you're not going to falter anywhere. It's also got a nice center armrest. As I mentioned, the infotainment is VW. Nothing wrong with it. Everything where you expect it to be. The flat bottom steering wheel, also a lot of fun. But the most fun is when I do this. Yes, it's also got a blow off. So little things like this really enhance the character of a car. And I really think this is one of the best value for money cars that you can buy right now. The only complaint I have with people is comparing this car to the Mini Cooper. You cannot compare this car to a Mini Cooper because a Mini Cooper is 25 lakh rupees more. It makes absolutely no sense. This car is more sedate, it does not catch any eyeballs. It's only the enthusiasts who know what this car is. They're the only ones who will appreciate it. Don't expect chicks to come up to you and be like, oh, hot car. No, it's going to be 10 guys like me who are going to be asking you what map you're running. So this beast, as I mentioned, is on a stage 2 setup. It's pushing almost 250 horsepower, and I'm not sure about the torque figures, but they are a lot. Basically, they are a lot. So what I'm trying to say is that the 1.8 TSI motor, everybody knows this motor. It's been around for a very long time, and it's very responsive in this car. The one thing that makes this car a lot of fun to drive are the paddles. The paddles are the charm. You can retrofit them on the GT as well, but I don't know how responsive they are. The flat body steering wheel, everything feels at home in this car, and the dials are also very racy, if that makes sense. In conclusion, I would like to say that if you're looking for a sleeper car, you want to go to the office sedately, you don't want to hurt anybody, but you want those pops and bangs, there is no better car which is more value for money than this. A VRS 230 or 245 is going to cost you much more than this. And in my opinion, this is a sweet little package. It's got the thrill. You can put it into drive and not worry about anything. It's just the perfect package for under 20 lakhs. But that is if you find one for under 20 lakhs. I've seen the prices on these cars and they're ridiculous. And I'll leave you on that note.
The new 2021 Lexus IS 350 F Sport, courtesy of Bobby Ray Hall Lexus in Mechanicsburg, PA. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. I am super excited to be in this thing today. The second I sat in this thing, I felt like a rock star. This is such a nice car, I can tell you already. But having said that, I wanted to check this one out because, of course, the 2021 IS350 has been refreshed for the 2021 model year. It's actually 30 millimeters wider than the previous IS as well, which is pretty cool. Gives it a more aggressive look, of course, and it should give it better handling as well, but we're going to test that out a little bit. Also, the IS is known for near perfect reliability, essentially. You guys can look on Auto Trader or something. You'll see a lot of ISs being sold with 200,000 plus miles. These things last forever. Of course, it's a Lexus, it's as expected, right? And so all in all, we'll be going over everything about the new IS. So we'll be testing out acceleration, braking, handling, sound system, exhaust clip, everything essentially. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. So when it comes to the IS350, there are actually two different configurations you can go with for this one. There is the rear wheel drive configuration starting at $42,900, and then there is the all-wheel drive, which we have today, starting at $44,900. But regardless, power plant is going to be the same. Powering the IS350 is a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6, putting out 311 horsepower at 6,600 RPM, 280 pound-feet of torque at 4,800 RPM. Power sent to rear wheels or all wheels through an 8-speed automatic with paddle shifters, which you guys know we will test out in a little bit here, but 0 to 60 time comes in at approximately 5.6 seconds. Top speed 143 miles per hour with MPG numbers coming in at approximately 20 in the city, 28 on the highway. So before we do that paddle shifter test or acceleration test, I did want to mention there are some drive modes. There's actually a circular dial just to the right of the shifter. It's going to adjust between normal, sport, sport plus, custom, snow, and eco, adjusting things like the shift points, throttle response, steering sensitivity, all-wheel drive system engagement, if you get the all-wheel drive system, of course, and the suspension settings actually as well. So now having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find a straightaway and let's just put the paddle shifters to the test here, and let's see how quickly these paddle shifters are going to react for us here. All right, so before we do this paddle shifter test, I wanted to mention one more thing. If you slide the shifter all the way to the back and to the left, that is actually going to give you full control over the shifting, a full manual shift mode, if you will. So having said that, here it is. Here is our straightaway. Let's shift down to first gear. There we are. And in 3, 2, 1, go. Whoa. Quick. Yeah. I like that sound too. They'll do just fine. That was a very quick reactive paddle shifter, so they're fine. Not the quickest I've ever tested, but definitely very quick, and I love that. And let me give back full control to the IS, but one thing I wanted to mention to you guys, there's actually an ASC button. It's labeled ASC by the driver's side left knee. That is going to be your simulated engine sound that kind of pumps that extra loudness into the cabin when you really hit the gas like I just did. So like I was saying, kind of a loud acceleration there, probably because of that mostly, but I kind of liked it. I think I'm gonna leave it up, but did want to mention that to you guys because there is that simulated sound. If you wanted it, leave it on. If you don't want it, turn it off. But now having said that, what do you guys say? Let's get back to our straightaway and let's get back full control to the IS. Let's see how quickly this thing is gonna get us up to speed. From a standstill in 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh. Oh. Wow. That does not feel like 0-60 in 5.6. I feel like that was quicker. That felt good, like dang good, in this all-wheel drive IS350 that we have here today. That was a wonderful acceleration, you guys. I gotta be honest, it's been I miss my Mustang now, but dang, that was a very nice acceleration, without a doubt. No issues in merging onto the highway. But to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. And so up front, you will find 13.2-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 11.7-inch ventilated rear discs. As far as that 60 to 0 stopping distance goes, it comes in at 110 feet. And I will say the braking feels like that. That's absolutely wonderful. It's a wonderful number, 110 feet. A lot of times sedans will give you around 120 or 124-ish, so 110 is definitely a performance sedan without a doubt, and there's no brake pedal delay or anything like that, so that is on point. Touching on suspension and handling, of course, you're going to get an independent front and rear suspension, front and rear stabilizer bars as well, Torsen limited slip rear differential. If you go with the rear wheel drive, of course, that is definitely nice. It's going to send torque to the rear wheel with the most traction, so not only is that going to assist with handling, it's also going to assist with acceleration, of course, as well. And did want to mention one additional thing. We actually do have an optional package option that is labeled F-Sport Dynamic Handling Package. That goes for $3,800. That gives you an adaptive damping suspension. This is one I always like to recommend. Reason being is because it really does give you the best of both worlds. It's not only going to tighten up the suspension during heavy cornering, but it is also going to read the road's imperfections and give you a much smoother ride as well. So whenever there is an option, no matter what manufacturer we're talking about, adaptive damping suspensions are really the way to go, without a doubt. You will notice the difference. I certainly notice the difference whenever there's a choice, without a doubt. So for that particular reason, ride quality is absolutely amazing in the IS. I've driven a lot of sedans lately, I will say that. And the IS honestly may be the smoothest riding sedan I've been in quite a while. So well done, Lexus. I have hit so many potholes and bad road imperfections in Pennsylvania here, and this is just soaking it up like it's nothing. So absolutely well done there. As far as steering feel goes, the very first thing I noticed when I got in this one, steering feel, even without it being in Sport or Sport Plus driving mode, it has such a heavy weight to it. I absolutely love it. It takes me back to the Mustang GT, which also had a very heavy weight to it, like a Challenger Hellcat even. So it's definitely a very nice steering feel, and again, it's weighted just perfectly for the IS, giving you a better feeling of being in control, and really that feeling of being in a sports sedan once again. As far as cabin noise goes, it's a Lexus. What do you expect? It certainly absorbs a lot of the wind noise and everything else, so there isn't a whole lot of exterior noises whatsoever coming into the cabin, so I love that. And since we're pulling up to a red light, touching on visibility, I can see perfectly fine out the back, no issues whatsoever, and you really shouldn't have any issues with sedans for the most part. So all in all, when it comes to driving dynamics, I have had such a blast so far. But what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find a spot at the dealership, and let's now take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2021 Lexus IS350 F-Sport. All right, so here she is, you guys, the completely revised 2021 Lexus IS350, completely blacked out. Looks absolutely amazing in my opinion. But Let's go ahead and start up front of this one. Bi-LED headlights do come standard with the automatic feature, meaning when it starts to get dark at night, those headlights are going to turn on automatically for you there. LED daytime running lights, of course, coming standard as well. Did want to mention an option when it comes to the headlights, though. There are actually premium triple beam headlights, a little extra visibility there for an additional $1,250 if you were interested. Making our way to the middle of it all, Lexus spindle front grille, of course, definitely looks very nice up front. And you will also find an F-Sport specific front end with the IS350, of course. And there are going to be some added air curtains within the bottom corners of that front bumper then as well, helping direct air around the wheel and tire combination. But definitely a very menacing, very aggressive look up front, especially with the wider stance for the 2021 IS. But now, let's go ahead and make our way to the side of this one. Chrome window surrounds do come standard. Power adjustable heated side mirrors with LED integrated turn signals, also standard. F-Sport specific side skirts, love that as well. And you do get some F-Sport badging found on the front fender. You guys probably saw that already. Taking a look down at the wheels, 19-inch split 5-spoke alloys is the standard configuration. However, you guys probably noticed it's not the ones we got today. We actually have 19-inch split 7-spoke forged matte black BBS wheels. I love these things. Matte black look is absolutely amazing. And of course, BBS is a known wheel manufacturer known for making lightweight racing wheels. So this is definitely a very cool wheel setup, I will say that. And again, this comes with the dynamic handling package. That's how we have this set up right now. But all in all, once again, looks very good. Let's now go ahead and make our way to the back of the IS. Carbon fiber rear spoiler. I love this. This again comes with the dynamic handling package, and no, this is not fake carbon fiber. This is authentic. This is the real thing. Absolutely love that. A little bit of extra downforce, I guess you could say, but it looks cool either way. LED taillights coming standard once again. F-Sport specific rear bumper, as you can imagine. And just below it all, dual exhaust outlets with chrome tips. So, do believe you guys know what we have to do next. As always, here is that exhaust clip. But now, since we are around back of the IS, when it comes to opening that rear trunk, you can, of course, there's a button on the key fob, I should say. There's also a button on the trunk itself and a button in the driving position then as well. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 10.8 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, there is a 60-40 split, meaning the rear seats do fold down for extra space then if you needed it. If you're wondering if the IS comes with a spare tire or a fix-a-flat, it actually comes with a spare tire. It's actually going to be located underneath the cargo floor for anybody who is curious about that. Also, you can find a first aid kit back in that cargo area. I found that pretty cool. There's actually tie-down anchors as well, which surprised me because usually tie-down anchors you find on SUVs, but seldomly on sedans. So I thought that was pretty cool actually. But making our way now to the rear legroom, that comes in at 32.2 inches. So for reference, I'm even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I have back there. Also, rear center armrest with cup holders will come standard. Rear ventilation in the back as well. One of the room for improvements, I guess you could say, in the back seats at least, is there's no charging ports back there, or none that I was able to find. So no rear USB charging ports or anything like that. So that would have been nice to see that. But now making our way to the front seats, 10-way power adjustable driver's seat with power lumbar. 8-way power adjustable passenger seat comes standard as well. It's pretty cool. Heated and ventilated front seats will come standard on the IS350 as well. Will come with a leather finish. And have I ever mentioned before? I think I have. F-Sport seats in any Lexus are the most comfortable seats in existence right now. Out of the 500 and some cars I've tested, I always say this, even if I'm not reviewing a Lexus, F-Sport seats are the most comfortable without a doubt. They're bolstered perfectly as well, meaning they're going to hold you in place if you take turns a little bit quicker than you should. But overall, they are just perfectly comfortable. So you guys could test that out for yourself. They really are though. But taking a look now though at the steering wheel, it is tilt and telescoping. It is leather wrapped with ashwood accents. I love this. The second I hopped in this one, I was like, there's some ashwood trim on the top part of the steering wheel. That's pretty darn cool. I like that. Anyways, it is heated steering wheel. That comes standard as well. And you do have some F Sport badging then towards the bottom then too. But now, let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. You do have your Lexus logo on the one side, and on the other side, it's a pretty basic key. Just lock, unlock, and the button to pop the rear hatch. But it is all keyless entry with the push button start. So all I'm going to do is simply put my foot to the brake and press that engine start button there. And so once started up, when it comes to the gauges, it is a very simplistic design. A little bit, but at the same time, these are LFA inspired gauges. I absolutely love that. The reason I like it is because you can actually hit a button on the steering wheel and it can slide that circular part of the gauge to the left and the right, or should I say the center and to the side. So it's pretty cool setup there. And you can of course customize what you want to display up there using the steering wheel mounted controls as well. I found that pretty cool. Overall, in a world with a bunch of 12.3-inch digital gauge clusters right now, or standard analog gauges, I would say these gauges are as good as just about all other gauges right now because they are unique and they're inspired by Lexus's supercar. So I absolutely love them for that reason. But so now making our way to overall interior quality, power moonroof is going to be optional on the IS. That goes for $1,100. Dual zone climate control does come standard. You will find aluminum sport pedals also coming standard on this one. Of course, you have plenty of charging ports, and really it's finished like a Lexus, so it pretty much says it all. There's actually an analog clock they still keep in this thing, which I found pretty cool. It's kind of a throwback at this point, but I actually really like it. Overall, like I said, even with our full black interior, although they do offer other color options for the interior, it's still amazing materials used in the Lexus, and overall interior quality is absolutely amazing. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the infotainment screen because it is going to differ slightly actually. 8-inch color touchscreen display does come standard. However, there is an optional 10.3-inch high resolution color touchscreen display. It's going to come with a couple different package options if you wanted it, but there's also going to be actually a touchpad controller that you can use, which is pretty convenient as well. I actually prefer that because to use the touchscreen, it is a bit of a reach. So I like the touchpad controller personally, but Bluetooth audio streaming do come standard, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay as well. If you wanted factory navigation system, that goes for $1,670, although you really don't need it because if you have a smartphone, you can just simply hook it up to the IS and then you have free navigation that way, and Google Maps is pretty reliable at this point. You can of course check out weather information up there as well, and of course your radio settings, and this is where it really gets good. Standard sound system comes with 10 speakers, which quite honestly is pretty good, but if you wanted to, there is an optional sound system that goes for $2,750. That is the 17 speaker Mark Levinson sound system that comes with 1,800 watts. That is the one we have today, you guys, of course. So having said that, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of this one. Ridiculous amount of bass there. My goodness, this Mark Levinson sound system, that was a wonderful amount of bass, plenty of clarity. That was a really, really good sound system for the IS without a doubt. And so the last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on that tech display is when you do put the IS in reverse, you will find a rear view camera coming standard. However, I will say I was kind of bummed out to see it only took up a small portion of that screen itself, so I wouldn't have minded if they made that a little bit bigger, but nonetheless it's still there, and as always that is going to lead us into safety. And so front side curtain airbags do come standard, driver's knee airbag as well. In the back you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system then as well, and of course all that's pretty basic at this point. Some of the more exciting standard safety features though are going to include a pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, lane tracing assist, lane departure alert with steering assist, road sign assist, dynamic radar cruise control, which is pretty cool. Essentially the car steers, hits the gas, and brakes for you when you have that on. Automatic high beams, which is also very nice. Blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert also comes standard. And there are some additional optional safety features, including intuitive parking assist with automatic braking, $600 there. There's also intuitive park assist with automatic braking and rear pedestrian detection and a panoramic view monitor as well, in case you were curious if that was available. That goes for $1,400 with all of that. But overall, when it comes to my final thoughts of the IS350, the redesign looks flawless, especially with the dynamic handling package. The reason being, I love those wheels. The BBS wheels are amazing. The carbon fiber spoiler I'm also a big fan of, having carbon fiber on my cars in the past. Of course, that's when I was modifying them, but nonetheless, the redesign with the wider stance definitely looks amazing. most comfortable seats in the world. I swear to you, after testing all the cars that I have, they really are. F-Sport seats are the best. Also incredibly reliable. You guys know when you buy an IS, it's going to last 200,000 plus miles more than likely, as long as you take care of it. Just look at Auto Trader and all the cars for sale, all the IS cars for sale over 200,000 miles. It's amazing. Also, some very cool LFA inspired gauges. I've always liked that. Awesome steering feel. It's a nice weight to it. It's definitely on the heavier side, which I personally love. As far as constructive criticism goes, the rear legroom, of course, you don't have a whole lot going on back there. Also, when it comes to the competitors, you're going to get a little better driving dynamics, definitely better acceleration without a doubt. Just take the Genesis G70, maybe 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds for that one. BMW 3 Series might be close to that as well. But so performance could be a little bit better, but at the same time, when you have maybe a twin turbo V6 like the Genesis does, you're going to sacrifice reliability. So depends on what you're really looking for. If you want reliability, you're not going to beat Lexus. And of course, you got all those awesome reasons that I just mentioned. And so, but that is about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on TikTok at the bottom of the screen there. If you wanted to see what's coming next on our channel before it actually gets to YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews. That is what we do here on this channel. After all, do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.
Okay, today we are going through 4 hop tests that we do when we are testing clients who have had ACL or knee surgery when they are returning to sport. Now these are the tests that we get them to do to test their stability and function and strength to see if they are fit and ready to go to the next stage or go into sport or start training for sport. So there's 4 that we're going to go through, and no particular order, but the first one was going to be a single leg hop for distance. So this first one, as you'll see, we've got our lines up on the grass here. Now this one you're going to go from, doesn't matter which leg, but you're going to compare the left and the right. So say their ACL leg was their right leg, you're going to compare that with their left leg, and you're going to see how far they can go with one hop. All right, so we've measured out on these blue lines actual distance, but when you do that hop, they've got to start from the same spot on a line, and then you've got to go for distance. So when you land, you've got to land and stick the jump, okay? You can't go and land and fall over, meaning you can't go as far as you can and then keep going. So it's as far as you can go, but you've got to stick the jump and you've got to land with stability and not fall over. So what I mean is, I'm going to jump, land, and hold it like that, okay? And then obviously compare that with the other leg. So if my other leg only went to sort of there, then that's not within sort of 90-95% of the other leg, and they would have to work on the strength, stability and control for that to test that hop every time and see if they get to the point where they're within the limits, and then they can start their return to sport phase. So the first one's our single leg hop. Now the other thing you want to be looking at with a hop too is making sure when they land, they're not landing and diving in. So there's also a technique thing with that landing and hop, and some part of our rehab that we do with the hopping is we actually work on small amounts of hopping and making sure that they don't start buckling in or losing form with that. Then the test is, what's the distance they can get out of that and keep their form. So that's your first one. The second one we do for ACLs is our triple hop for distance. So this is a single leg hop test 3 times, but landing with the third one sticking the jump. I'll show you what I mean. So you're going for as far as you can 3 times on landing. So that's why they call it a triple hop. So you're going to go from 1, 2, 3 and land the hop, okay? So you can't go so far again, like with the single leg hop, you can't go so far that you fall over. So this is what you can't do. You can't go bounding, and then trying to keep going, okay? It can't be 3 and then fall over. It has to be the third one, you have to stop, okay? So I would definitely get a line track like this so you can actually measure how far. So when they land, you measure the distance from when they started. So if I go from my ACL leg and go for as far as I can go, 1, 2, 3, and then you measure that distance and then compare it with the other one. So again, your other one needs to be maybe 90-95% as close to the other side. So it doesn't really matter within reason how far you go. That does depend on what sort of athlete you are, how tall you are, how strong you are. It's about the other side. Okay, so if your other side, you can only sort of do that. You know it's a long distance. You measure the distance, measure the percentages, and you've got to try and make up that percentage to try and improve that over time. And that will what be, you know, we test that, and that's what we're going to look at in our strengthening and stability routines that we do with our clients to get them to that point so we know they're safe to go return to sport. So just run through that one more time. You're just going to go triple hop for distance. Remember, it's a 1, 2, 3 and land, and that's where you're going to measure. Okay, now the one that's even better than that, number 3, is your crossover hop. Now with this one, you're going to go 3 times again, but you're going to start laterally. You're going to cross over a double line like this, which is 15 centimeters apart. Okay, so you have to cross over the line, and you're going to go medial first with one foot, then lateral, then medial. Now of course you're not going to go as far as a triple hop for distance, okay, but you're going to go for a distance but cross over this time. So if I'm going to go medial, I'll go medial, lateral, medial. Now you see in the first one I hit the line, so you're not allowed to hit the lines with that. So this one you're going to go look at those lines, 1, 2, 3, and again hit the line again. So these ones take practice, and sometimes even practicing the test is part of the drill that gets the person better. So we'll try again, 1, 2, 3, and again you've got to land that jump, got to land with stability. You can't step over or fall over, because some people will go and try to go too far to get the distance or get the width, but they can't hold or stick the jump at the end, and that's the important one. All right, so triple hop for distance, and then you also go to the other side. Okay, so again, if you're starting on your left foot, you're going to go medial, as in to the right if you're on your left foot, and then left, and then right again. So lateral or medial, lateral, medial on the left leg. So that's this way, 1, 2, and then 3, and land. Now ideally when you land and hold and stick, don't land and then put one foot down. If they put one foot down, try again. Okay, and give yourself maybe 2 or 3 goes at that to warm up and get used to it, and then measure what the third one is at the end to see what the difference is, left versus right. You can see this is tiring stuff. Now the fourth one, which is one of my favorites apart from that one, is your side hopping or lateral hop. Now this one here, we've set up 2 strips. You can see here. Now these are 40 centimeters apart. Okay, so from edge to edge, it's 40 centimeters. And this is a 30-second hop test. Okay, so on, again, single leg, on the single leg, can you hop either side of that? So if I land and then land there, I've got to be on the side of that. It doesn't matter how far away from that blue line, as long as I don't touch that blue line, and then back again. I've got to do as many as I can within 30 seconds. Okay, so it's more of an endurance type thing. How many can I get, a capacity if you like, how many can I get done with stability and not hitting the line? Okay, so if you watch, if I try and do this, you've just got to be trying to be even, and you can try and just, the quicker you go, the more you're going to get in, right? And you just got to try and keep doing this for that period of 30 seconds. And for someone who's had a ACL recon, it's quite hard, okay? So they might end up getting 10, they hit the line a few times and then they're out, okay? So this one is a really good way of testing their medial and lateral strength, stability, endurance, like their capacity to, can you hop left and right, medial and laterally, continuously for a long enough period of time to sort of grant you the okay tick to go and play sport. So that's a really, really important one. Just like the crossover for distance, that lateral medial movement for MCLs, ACLs, and meniscal surgery is so important for that person returning to sport. And again, compare it with your left and your right. Some people like that are going to have differences left versus right anyway. Okay, so someone who's perhaps a right-footed kicker may be a bit better on their left leg because that's their jumping leg. Okay, and it may depend on a bit of that, might be 5% difference there. Also, is that the ACL leg or is that the ACL leg? So those things are going to be taken into effect, but at the end of the day, you still want it within 5% left versus right. Okay, so next thing we're going to work on is capacity. See you then.
In this video, I'm going to show how lacrosse players can improve their performance in their play by developing trust. Bill is a midfielder on his high school lacrosse team. Ever since he was introduced to it at the age of 10, he's been totally enthralled with mastering the sport. He actually enjoys the drills and the practices that his teammates sometimes find boring. He loves working out and conditioning himself to improve his stamina, as he knows it makes him a better player. Bill's coach taught him early that lacrosse players need to be constantly moving in order to be effective on the field, right? You know that as a player. But most of all, he's fascinated with the strategies in lacrosse. He reads books and soaks up his coach's advice, and he's totally into it as a student of the game. His dad played lacrosse in college, and he's also been a huge influence on his development. Unfortunately, there's a downside to all this for Bill. He tends to overthink and underreact in games, which sometimes puts him a step behind his opponents. Sounding familiar? His dad and coach can see the hesitation, especially when he gets tied up with the ball. His dad says he gets that deer in the headlights look. Lacrosse is a very fast-moving sport. If you play it, there is very little time to think, you know. Everything that a player's learned in practices and training needs to come out naturally and automatically. Bill, and most athletes for that matter, would improve their performances tremendously by learning and playing with trust. Now, this word is thrown around the sports world everywhere, but what does it mean and how do you get it? Well, trust is letting go of the mental need to control. When you have trust in your body's ability to perform the task in competition, it's almost as if something else is directing your movements and not you. For athletes with a need to control issue, this is scary, but it is essential to being able to play in that flow state. And that's where your full talent just shows up naturally. And to develop trust, the lacrosse player must first eliminate the main block to it: fear. So how do you do that? I teach a process to all my athletes where the athlete embraces all emotions, especially including fear, understands that all of them are good and even necessary for our life. And when you truly welcome and embrace your emotions, even the difficult ones like embarrassment and disappointment that come from failures, then you don't fear them. In the short version, overcoming fear, there's only two things to fear in this world. I've been preaching it everywhere. One, physical harm to the body. And two, emotions. There's nothing else. Let go of the fear of emotions and you're basically fearless. Now, trust can emerge. And then the quickest way to build self-trust is to recognize that you already do it in many other areas of your life. And you can practice transferring it over to the field. Think about riding a bike, for instance. to get on the bike and start thinking about how to pump your legs and move your arms to steer? No, of course not. Trust that once you get on your bike, your body will get you where you want to go. If you drive a car, it's the same thing. Can you connect to that trusting feeling or idea right now in something you do all the time automatically? Brushing your teeth even? How about the trust you have that the sun will come up tomorrow and create a new day? Can you notice the difference in feeling now just thinking about that idea? Can you bring that to the field? Every time you make a successful move, a pass, a defense, or even a score, think about how trust was a big factor in that and know that you can grow it. Being aware of it is a big first step. And I taught all of this to Bill. He completely turned his game around. His knowledge of the game then became an asset, and he used the trust he discovered to become the team's most improved player. Instead of thinking about it when a pass came to him, his body now automatically moved towards it. He started making better decisions as to who to pass it to. Everything he trained and drilled and learned, everything he worked so hard for, it just began to pay off in games automatically. It was effortless when he dialed into that trust of his abilities and he got out of his own way. Lacrosse success equals superior conditioning, mastering fundamentals, and building self-trust. I'm Craig Sigel. Subscribe to my channel for more powerful tools and techniques and strategies just like this to get better at your sport. Let's do this.
Welcome to Spotlight. I'm Liz Wade.
And I'm Adam Novice. Spotlight uses a special English method of broadcasting. It is easier for people to understand, no matter where in the world they live.
Four people are dead as competing fans riot at Honduras soccer game.
It is a dark day in tennis as Monica Seles is stabbed on court.
Fans attack baseball coach on field.
Hundreds of soccer fans riot violently at game in South Africa.
These are real news headlines. They come from the past few years and around the world. They are all about violent sports fans. Fans are loyal to a team or sport. Of course, not all sports fans are violent or bad. But fans do many extreme things because of sports games. Millions of people say that being a sports fan is one of the most important things in their lives. Why do people love sports so much? And why do fans support their teams so strongly? Today's Spotlight is on the reasons people become sports fans and why they act in particular ways.
Loyalty to sports teams crosses every border. People of every nationality, culture, income level, gender, and age love to watch sports. Sports are entertaining. They are easy for anyone to access and do not cost much. And people like to watch athletes perform. Athletes inspire us with their strength, skill, and hard work. Many people follow one sport and one team in particular.
But being a loyal sports fan can have negative results. At the beginning of this program, we heard examples of sports fan violence. People can also feel depressed when their team loses. However, being a sports fan has many positive results too. Fans feel great when their team wins. Studies show that sports fans think better thoughts about themselves. They are less depressed and less lonely. Dr. Daniel Wan is a leading expert on fan behavior. He made a list of 24 examples of social well-being that come with being a fan of a sports team. He tells the Seattle Times,
"There has been a lot of research in my lab and by others in multiple cultures. It shows that when an individual becomes attached to a sports team, there are pretty clear mental benefits of that."
Being a fan also produces complex biological reactions and social behavior. Imagine you are watching your favorite team or athlete play a game. Your heart starts to beat faster. You become very excited. You are not moving much, but you begin to sweat. Studies show this happens to many sports fans. They react physically to the game, even though they are not playing.
Chemicals in the fans' bodies also change in the same way that the athletes' bodies do. Experts call these mirror neurons. So, sports fans experience a kind of mirror reflection of what they are watching. They feel tension, but they also experience the release of chemical substances in their body. These make the fans feel happy. Shankar Vedantam is a social science reporter for the news organization NPR. He says,
"Sports allow us to feel intensely about something that really is not very important. The truth is, tomorrow, if your team wins or loses, you are still going to be okay. So in some ways, watching sports is like watching a horror movie. You feel intensely, but the risks are not that high."
Our minds, emotions, and bodies respond strongly to sports, and we respond even more if we care more. The other main reason people care so much about sports is social. Many people like to watch sports events with their friends and family. But the social element of being a sports fan is much more than that.
people like belonging to a group. Being part of a team makes us feel we have things in common with the people around us. We form groups naturally. People are also naturally very loyal to their in-group. They feel they belong and connect emotionally to the other members of the group. They also often share a dislike for people in an out-group, like an opposing sports team. Christine Emba reports for The Washington Post.
Studies have shown that for fans, being identified with a favorite team is more important than being identified with their work and social groups. And it is sometimes more important to them than being identified with their religion.
Our attachment to sports teams comes from a deeper desire for connection. People want to feel valuable and important in the world. Some experts say we all want to be part of something larger than ourselves that will continue on, even after we die. Jeff Greenberg teaches social psychology at the University of Arizona. In the online science magazine Nautilus, he says,
"The underlying importance of sports fanship is that need to feel good about yourself, the need for self-esteem and meaning. What is the point? Why do we need to feel valuable and good about ourselves and our place in the world? In a sense, that is what we are doing in our lives. We are trying to feel larger than our own lives, to feel higher than death. We want to feel that somehow we are going to continue on beyond. Sports are a symbolic version of the drama of life. Winning and losing feels like life and death.
People have found many ways to belong to groups. Sports fans form a strong bond with other group members. In this way, they satisfy the need to belong, and they fill the need to be part of something larger than themselves. When their team loses, they feel as if they have lost. And when their team wins, they celebrate victory.
Lastly, there are some outside reasons to be a sports fan. Sports are a multi-billion-dollar global business. It is good for people in this business when sports fans are loyal. Many people make a lot of money from sports that people watch. Sports are an important part of the global economy.
Most people cheering for their team are probably not thinking about all these things. But it helps us to understand why sports are important to so many people around the world. Are sports important to you? What team do you support? Do you think it is because of the reasons in this program? You can leave a comment on our website or email us at radio@ccpg.org. at radioenglish.net. You can also comment on YouTube at youtube.com/SpotlightEnglish1.
The writer of this program was Rena Dam. The producer was Michio Ozaki. The voices you heard were from the United States and the United Kingdom. All quotes were adapted for this program and voiced by Spotlight. You can listen to this program again and read it on the internet at www.radioenglish.net. This program is called Are You a Real Sports Fan?
Visit our website to download our free official app for Android and Apple devices. We hope you can join us again for the next Spotlight program. Goodbye.
Hi, I'm Craig Sigel, Mental Toughness Trainer. This program is for you if you are or assisting a baseball or softball player with these issues. As a hitter, when you step into the cage or during practice and scrimmages, you take powerful, confident swings and you make solid contact consistently. And you feel great about your swing and your skills, but as soon as you step into the box during a meaningful game, your swing disappears. Coaches and parents can see the body language literally change into a weak version of the player they saw before. And this especially happens when a player goes up against a better pitcher, right? Or how about as a pitcher? You get a couple hits off you or maybe a couple walks, and then all of a sudden you change the way you pitch because you think you need to strike everyone out to make up for it. When the smart strategy is to just keep the batters off balance and trust your fielders and get the outs. Or how about you find it hard to let go when you make mistakes, errors, or you strike out in crucial situations for your team? Finding it hard to accept what everyone says about that baseball and softball is a game of mistakes and you have to embrace your failures. Not so easy, is it? Or maybe you struggle with focus and concentration. You ever find yourself being way too nervous under pressure or right before an at-bat? How about a game where you had the chance to win it and you blew it and it just dogs you to this day? It's like those chokes stay with you and they eat away at your confidence, don't they? Well, all of that can be a thing of the past. And my baseball, softball, mental toughness program can turn you into a powerhouse on the field, in the game, under pressure, and when it counts. Look, practice all you want. All those issues I just mentioned, they will not go away with more hard work and practice. Everyone works hard. Everyone practices. Folks, this is a new world and competition has never been more fierce for playing positions, jobs, everything. Hard work, it's not enough anymore. Understand this fact about playing baseball and softball. Performance equals potential minus interference. When you clear out the interference or the mental junk that causes the negative thinking, the tightness and tension, the lack of confidence and nervousness, you simply play your best. Then you can master your skills much more effectively, which will blow up your potential. It is that simple, and that's what we do in my baseball, softball, mental toughness program. So what's the number one interference we're going to get rid of? Fear of failure in all of its forms. Now we do this using my patented race formula process. It's been used worldwide for over a decade. Oh, and by the way, parents, everything in this program is about acquiring life skills through baseball and softball. You want your kid to get inspired and motivated and to instill a success mindset for sport and life through this? Here you go. I've been doing this for more than a decade with athletes worldwide and specializing in youth sports. Read all about that below here, and I will see you on the inside. Let's do this.
And really talk about why do we care about injuries. If I was to ask everyone sort of live, how many people have been injured, how many people thought it sort of sucked, it's probably most of the people in the room, particularly for me when I'm talking to a very sports science group of students. But also sports injuries are a big issue. So in Australia, so this is just Australian data, in 2016, 2017, there were almost 60,000 hospitalizations due to sport participation. This is not going out and rolling your ankle, treating yourself with Ricer. This is going to hospital, ending up in the ED and having further treatment from there. So it's not a cheap sort of injury to manage. Hospitalizations, and in today's environment, we don't really want to be ending up in hospital. So with when we look at that, most of these come from the football codes, netball and basketball, so our team sports. And the football codes are Australian football, which is our sort of native code here, the two rugby, so rugby league and rugby union, and association football or soccer. Netball, for those who aren't from a Commonwealth country, it's definitely going and worth having a look at a netball game, because if you were to design a game where people were to get injured, it would be netball. What's really good for us from an injury prevention point of view is that a large proportion of these injuries are due to non-contact mechanisms, which means that we can actually intervene at the level of the athlete or without having to change too much and actually come up with some sort of positive outcome, positive mechanism. We don't have to change the game. We don't have to do anything like that. We can intervene and change the athlete and change how they interact with their environment. So when it comes to injury, it's really all about the load and the load that we experience. And, when we get injury, we have the load which is too big, we have a load which is in the wrong direction, we have inadequate support, or we have inadequate loading frequency. We're either loading too much, so we get our overuse injuries, or we're loading too low and quickly transition to a high frequency load. And that's a lot of where our workload management comes in. So really, the interaction of these four factors are what leads us to getting injury. In the end, a tissue is going to get damaged when the loads that you apply is too big for the tissue's ability to cope. So you get your elastic band, you stretch it, it's all good, and then it breaks. The same with any of our tissue body structures as we go through. So if we look at injury prevention, there's lots of models out there around injury prevention. Van Melton. The one that I really like is the one proposed by Carolyn Finch in 2006, which takes injury prevention right through from our initial phases through to actually getting people to do the injury prevention. So if we look at that, the first step is obviously to look at what injuries are actually out there. So who's getting injured, how many people are getting injured, and that becomes a sort of a big thing. If there's one person who gets injured and no one else in the sport ever has through that mechanism, trying to prevent it is probably fraught with we're doing a lot for not much bang. If we have a injury which doesn't have huge detrimental outcomes, for instance, say a hamstring, for most hamstrings, but that happens a lot, we want to intervene there. Or something like an ACL, which is what we're going to talk about through most of this lecture, so the anterior cruciate ligament, happens relatively regularly, but when it does happen, it usually leads to about 12 months out of sport, which, for the Joe Blow athlete or even a professional athlete is not something we want. So once we know what injuries are actually occurring, we want to intervene. And to intervene, we first need to establish how the injuries are actually occurring. So look at where the injuries are occurring and also look at the mechanism of injury. So once then we get a good handle of that, we can go through and work out what our intervention looks like, do our programming if we're from an exercise science background. Then we should be testing it out in an ideal conditions. Everything's perfect. We're nice, controlled, experimental environment. And once we know there and it works, we can go out and we can say, how do I get this from my lab to everyone in the country doing it? And then finally, we need to go back and evaluate. So where does biomechanics come in? So it really sits through steps 2, 3, and 4. We're not epidemiologists. We're not going to go out and do the surveillance. Most of us are not going to be doing the implementation phase, but we're really about understanding how we're getting injured, developing prevention measures from that, and then going through and doing the evaluation. So if we work through all of these, and this is the work that came out of my PhD, looking at how each of these steps work. So the first step is really to look at how are we getting injured. So look away now if you don't like gory videos, but this is an example of a contact ACL injury. So if you watch the guy coming across here, just turn a pointer on. If you watch this knee here, he gets hit, he gets into that knee abduction, rotation, and ACL is gone. And from a intervention point of view, there's not much we can do about that. He's being crushed into with his knee. It's a completely legal environment within that sport. So there's not much we can do without really changing the way that the sport is played. The next sort of injury is an indirect contact. So we can see that he's had his loading environment changed by this player here. And then we've had this injury occur here on his left knee. And again, there's only so much we can do to manage and to intervene in these sports. And finally, we now move to our classic ACL. So if you watch this player here from Essendon, if you watch this left knee, sorry, Essendon, I forgot I'm not speaking to just Australians. Essendon's the team in black and red. We can see that as the player comes in, he throws his leg out and his knee collapses in. Now, one thing to note when he actually gets injured is that you can see that he's placed his foot a long way from the midline of his body and he's leaning his torso back over this support leg. And we'll see that same position if we look at other ACL injuries. So this is where England lost their 2006 FIFA World Cup bid when Michael Owen snapped his ACL. I do apologise for anyone in Europe or anyone in England who's watching this. But again, as we see, he goes to suddenly change direction, throws his leg out a long way, and we can see it collapsing down and in. So again, at foot contact, his foot's a long way away from the midline of his body. And here's a more recent one from AFL, the women's AFL. If you watch his left knee here, we can see that as he goes to change direction, the knee, again, a long way away from the body, torso is coming back over there, and we see it collapse back in towards the middle of the body. So before we go on to the next step, just a quick recap, depending on where you are in your particular course, as to what a moment or the moment of force or torque, we use these terms interchangeably. I think much of the exercise science or sports area talks about it being the moment, which is really the turning effect of a force, not a moment. I do apologize with my typo there of my words. And the important thing to remember is how do we calculate our moment, or the two components of our moment is the force and our moment arm. And the moment arm being that perpendicular distance from our axis of rotation to our line of action of the force. So very quickly, we've got this here. So we know that these two characters here will balance out that seesaw because they each produce the same bending moment because we've got the same value here. This one is double the force and half the moment arm of the other athlete, or the other angel there. So we're going to have a balance out. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about moments here, is that bending force that's occurring. So if we look at our ACL, we've just seen people go through and get injured. And when they get injured, we saw that we had the knee tends to collapse in, which is what we call a valgus load or an abduction load of the knee. And this is some cadaveric work where we can go through, and they went through and they actually loaded the ACL. This work by Markov in 1995. And they loaded the knee with an anterior drawer load. So this is this black line coming through here, where we pulled on the quadriceps tendon, which slightly pulls the tibia forward, which causes an anterior drawer load on the ACL. What these other lines here is the combination and the addition of an additional load. So we can see here that below about 10 degrees of knee flexion, we get a huge increase in the load on the ACL when we apply an internal rotation load. Again, with our varus load, so this is when our ankle is pulled in, so we're putting a varus moment or an adduction moment on, we can see that we see an increase in our anterior or ACL load, again, below about 10 degrees of knee flexion. If we look at our valgus load, from about 10 degrees of knee flexion through to, right through, we see an increase in our anterior draw. So if we apply this valgus load, we really see an increase in the load on the ACL. And really the big loads are these valgus and internal rotation. These are the ones that have been shown to be dangerous when we look at this cadaveric work. And they're the lines to where we see the knee collapse. So when we looked at all of those, we saw the knee collapse inwards and down. What we also know is that the ACL can be supported by the muscles that cross the knee. So all of the muscles that cross the knee, we talk about our quadriceps as being extensors. But if you think about our quadriceps, if we break them down to our vastus lateralis, it actually inserts on the lateral aspect of the patella. So it's going to have a lateral force. It will produce an abduction moment on the knee. Similar with our vastus medialis, inserts onto the medial aspect of the patella. So it's going to produce a varus moment on the knee. So if I contract all of my medial muscles, I'm actually going to counter out an external valgus load, so something which is forcing me into a valgus position. So our muscles, yes, our quadriceps are extensors, our hamstrings and flexors, but they also have the ability, because of where their tendons insert relative to the axis of rotation, which is going to create that moment, they can produce varus and valgus and internal and external rotation moments, and which allows them to support. And we can look at that through our total activations, how much muscles are occurring, their co-contraction, and also our muscle strength can interplay with those. So we've gone through, we've seen how people get injured, we've looked at the loading, and now we can think about, well, why do we think that that might be a bad position? So we saw that when people got injured, they tended to look like this, with a wide foot placement a long way away from the midline. So we remember back to our moment, it was our force, and in this case, we can assume our force is our mass multiplied by gravity coming down through here. So in both of these athletes, it's the same mass, it's the same person, but we can see that we have a different moment arm. When our foot's in close, we have a small moment arm, so the force is coming down not too far away from the medial aspect of the knee. And on this one, we have a much larger moment arm. So what that results in is a much bigger abduction or a valgus moment in this wide foot placement.
In this short video, you will learn mental toughness tips that I shared with a group of wrestlers right before they went out to compete in their tournament. And they won as a team by 1 point. What is performance anxiety? Well, to cut to the chase, it's this. Fear. This is the #1 problem in all sports, mental problem. Fear of embarrassing yourself, fear of disappointing your parents, fear of disappointing your coaches, your teammates. Fear, right? Fear of not doing so well. All right, so here's how I help people get over fear. First of all, we're going to break it down. We do fear for two reasons: for physical danger, and we do it because we're afraid of our emotions. What? Now, this is something that you don't hear too often. But when I said, what are we really afraid of? About losing, about underperforming in a match? We're afraid of embarrassment. We're afraid of disappointments. What else? What else are we afraid of that might happen? Some people are afraid of getting angry. Some people are afraid of the sadness that might come from it. But I always ask my athletes, I say, so if you lose, what's going to happen? Are you going to get shot? Is somebody going to shoot you if you lose this game? No. No fear, no physical danger there. Is somebody going to take your house away and your food and your clothing and shelter? No. Is there anything physical that's going to happen? No. So what is it that we're afraid of? Well, all emotions, including fear, they're just chemicals running through your body. Let me give you the breakdown of what happens. So you get a thought. You're before a match. You're going against a guy who crushed you the last time you went. Or you know he's the best around and has an undefeated record, right? And you're going, oh my gosh, I hope I can do this. And you're starting to get tense. You're starting to get nervous. You're starting to get anxious. Right? What's going on? Those are the thoughts that you have. Oh, I'm going against this guy who's owned so many guys before me or has destroyed our team before, whatever. So this chemicals just get released in your body. And then they attach to cells, fibers, tissues, even muscles, even bones. And they make your body feel something. All right? So there's an emotion here, and then there's a feeling. So it's the feeling that hurts your performance, right? Going out there on fire, feeling like you're going to kill this guy or scared to death. It's not even close, right? So that's our whole goal, is to get into that state. So all we have to know is if we feel that, if we think that, if we're experiencing that fear, all you have to do is tell yourself, look at that. Got some chemicals doing some things in my body. There's nothing outside. We as athletes, we as human beings tend to blow this fear thing up into, oh my God, my whole life could come apart here. Oh my gosh, if I lose this, I'm the goat of the team. And we go all over the place. All it is some chemicals in your body. Literally, they're just chemicals. That's all that's going on. There's no outside force punishing you, feeling in fear. By the way, this goes for all your chemicals: anger, sadness, guilt, hurt, all those, shame, embarrassment, rejection. They're just chemicals. Let me give you a quick story. And you guys might experience this. A few years ago, I was in the dating world and I asked this woman out for a date, and we had a good time. Went to the movie, and afterwards I drop her off, say goodnight, write her an email saying, hey, I enjoyed your presence, it was fun, whatever, and I'd like to get to know you better. Next morning I wake up and there's an email saying, you know, I enjoyed the time too, thank you very much, and I'm not interested in you romantically, want to be your friend or whatever. Now, at first, I'm feeling rejection, right? So this pertains to wrestling, because you guys are all in some way have experienced fear of rejection of what might come from losing, the fear. And I'm just going to use this outside, because you can use these techniques, these tactics everywhere in your life to fight the fear and the performance anxiety that holds you back in wrestling, right? So what do? I sit there and I actually felt like this hole in my gut. I don't know if you guys have ever been dumped by a girl or whatnot, or anybody for that matter. It doesn't feel very good. So the tendency, the temptation is to go, I suck. Must be something wrong with me, right? I must not be good enough. Oh, all this other BS that comes up. No, this is what I do. Oh, look at that. There's some chemicals making my stomach feel that way. That's kind of interesting. I'm just going to be in it for a while. They're just chemicals. Because what's the truth of the situation? The truth of the situation with some girl who said, I'm not interested in you, is we're not a match. And in any relationship,
Somebody can say, we're not a match. Either side can say, we're not a match. That's the truth. It doesn't mean I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough as a wrestler. It doesn't mean I'm not good looking enough. It doesn't mean I'm not smart enough. None of that. Or have enough techniques or tools there out on the mat. You see the metaphor there? It's just chemicals. That's what I want you guys to tell yourself. Make sure to go to teenmentaltoughness.com to get a free Master the Pressure guided visualization and an ebook for parents, The 10 Commandments for Great Sports Parents. Click on the link in the description below and I'll see you in the winner's circle.
As an athlete, performer, or competitor, that negative, destructive tape or voice or recording in your head, it will hurt your ability to perform and is one of the major mental blocks. I operate under this principle. Performance equals potential minus interference. Meaning, you will play, compete, or perform your best when you have no interference or mental emotional blocks. Now, to be able to clear this mental block, the negative mind we call it, it's extremely helpful to understand it first and then we can take it apart. Now let me explain your solution to this problem using my 4-step race formula for mental toughness, which I developed from experience working with thousands of athletes worldwide, performers, all ages. This is the vehicle that will transport you to clearing this block. It's what I use for everything now to help my clients acquire mental toughness, and starts with R. That stands for relentless. What that means is you must be relentless about your ability and your desire to change these automatic thought responses that seemingly are out of your control. They are not. And I give you the tools to believe you can change them and to actually do it. You just cannot give up on it, and I promise you it will go away. This video starts the process for you right now. A, that stands for awareness. So let's go there for this mental block, the negative mind. What it is it's a destructive, to your performance, destructive occurrence that originates actually from a very useful natural function, your problem-solving ability. So let's call it the analytical function. Everybody has this function to some degree, and it helps you figure things out. Now, it's normally a very helpful and useful mental gift that you have. And those that have this function to a very high degree, they have to be extremely careful. Because when it comes to sports and performing, what happens is this function gets corrupted. Just like a virus corrupting a computer program or an app. And this mental virus, if you will, it gets into your bio-operating system and then turns your analytical function against your goals and desires. It's all automatic once the virus gets inside the system, and no matter how much mental willpower you try to come up with to counter it, it'll always win. I'm sure you've noticed that. Because it's much more powerful than any willpower you have. Now, to fix this, most coaches and sports psychologists try to give you simple advice like stop overthinking and use positive self-talk, or you just have to believe in yourself. That's such garbage! Like you didn't already know that. Yeah, thanks for that brilliant advice, coach. I'll just do that now since you've told me it. Not that easy, is it? You've got to go to the source of the problem and get rid of it there. Which brings us to C, clear. You see, I believe there is always a reason why we do everything we do. And there is a reason why we respond and react like we do. And that goes for the negative mind just the same. You have to clear the reason why the analytical function is turned against you. And here's the kicker. You have to do it at that inner mind programming or bodily level I talked about. You just can't think about it up here and expect it to go away. The mental virus is otherwise known as a belief or belief structure. And once these things get embedded into your inner mind programming, you have to come up with a counter belief that is powerful enough to dissolve it, and then you have to get that into where the programming lives, your bio-operating system, which is your body. Typical mental viruses or beliefs I help my clients destroy are: I'm not good enough, I don't deserve to win, I'm too small, I'm not fast enough, I'm not big enough, other people win, not me, I can't. Fill in the blanks. So to clear those kinds of bodily programs, you have to have the right counter thought for you. And you have to get it from your head to your body. And how do we do that? Well, I could teach about that for hours. And that principle runs through everything I do, including right now. And it's the reason why I have such a high success rate with my clients. But the gist of it is for you, right here, right now. The best way to get to your inner mind is to intend to do so and practice doing so. Now, I do this for my clients in part with guided visualization. Let's move on to E, emotional mastery. This is the final piece for that negative mind. Now, believe it or not, that negative mind actually wants you to succeed. It thinks that the best way to do that for you is to get you all pumped up and to think fast in order to foresee every possible problem and to solve them when they come up. And sometimes this can work, but most of the time it doesn't. Because performing your best happens when you're in that peak performance state. Your state is comprised of two parts. One, how you're thinking, and two, how you're feeling. You have to not only master your mind and its programming, but also your bodily feelings. For instance, what if you were to gather up all your willpower and temporarily crowd your mind with nothing but positive thoughts and be thinking confidence, 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 and yet while you're doing that thinking confidence, your body is too pumped up, or you're not pumped up enough for what you need to do to perform your best, right? All that positive thinking is for nothing. Thoughts lead to emotions, which lead to bodily feelings, which lead to performance and actions. If the negative mind is your challenge, the RACE formula is designed to replace the virus with trust. Now, I'm going to send you an email tomorrow to pick up where I left off here to give you more tools for all of this. Look for it. The RACE formula always works when you work it. I'm Craig Sigel, your mental toughness trainer. Let's do this. Talking about this really quickly, our goal here as an athlete is to get rid of the mental baggage, the junk, all the stuff, the negativity, and all those things that basically hold you back, that slow you down. And I like to use the analogy of if you're a ship going across the ocean, it's like you're dragging an anchor. And you're not going to be able to go as fast as you want. You're trying to get from A to B. You know, B is you guys playing your best. And this is the stuff that acts like an anchor and holds you back. All right? All right. So I find it really helpful to explain to all my athletes, and I've taught little kids this in little kid language. But you want to understand that we have two functions of the mind. All right, so most people think when you say mind, they point to their brain up here. But that's not true. The mind is more than just the brain. All right? And there's two functions. One of them is what I call the thinking mind. And this is the part of us, that was my clicker, this is the part of us that makes all decisions and choices. And then we have what I call the power mind. Now, if you care, the technical terms are conscious and unconscious. All right? But this is kind of more down to earth. Now, there's a block between the two. That's why I drew this. So you could be out there. You know, you're just about to go out on the ice. You're on the bench. You're just getting ready with your group. And you're up here thinking, okay, I need to get into that ready, rock and roll, let's do this state. Or maybe it's I need to calm down, or maybe I need to stop all this negativity and worry about, oh no, what happens if I screw up? And you're doing all that stuff and you go, I got to stop doing that. I got to start thinking positive. And you're thinking that and you're trying to send that message down, and it gets stopped right here at the border. Because this part runs your body. And its job is all your automatic functions. So like, it manages all your energy, it manages like your bodily functions such as heartbeat, breathing, immune system, digestion, and all the millions of little things that need to happen in order for you to be a coordinated, skilled athlete out there on the ice. It does this. You can't think, okay, now move puck, pull stick back, move legs. You can't do that. You just are up here on automatic pilot with what needs to happen strategic-wise, and then making your choices about who to pass and all that. But your body's got to do all the things that you can't think about. So the goal here is for us to get through this block. Because you could be thinking all day long, I want this, I want to feel great, I want to feel confident, and it gets blocked. But if you can get through, well, then the body will respond and you'll feel confident in addition to thinking confident. You can think something all day long, but if the body's not in line, you can forget it. You're going to lose that battle. Does that kind of make sense? Now, getting back to P equals P minus I, the interference. We have all sorts. The interference is down here. So this kind of operates like a computer operating system, like Windows or Mac OS X. And what happens is we plug in to our operating system these interferences, these interference thoughts, interference beliefs, interference values, things that we learned a long time ago. They got plugged in there, and the problem is they're not good, and we got to get rid of them. All right? So you need to start with useful positive thoughts up here, and then get them down here and destroy the non-useful ones, the interference. That's the overview of what I teach all my athletes.
He made a mistake. So, there'll be a consequence that he has to endure here within our family.
We're a family. So if you have no idea what's going on, what's the grave mistake that this guy's player made that the family is going to make him endure? He hit a home run in garbage time when the other team threw up the white flag, said, hey, we're going to put a position player on the mound because we don't care about this game anymore. But can you guys please not try? Because if you do, it'll get our feelings hurt. That's what happened here. We're slowly learning over and over again that the generation of baseball players that consider themselves tough are actually the biggest babies when it comes to getting their feelings hurt. Here's some more on it.
If you had been at the ballpark, just about the time the guy started making the pitch, I took several steps from the dugout onto the field yelling, take, take, take. Because just the way he was set up, I looked to me like he was going to swing. And the whole time he's around the bases, I'm out there and I was upset because that's not a time to swing 3-0. And as I happened to look over there and I know the Twins knew that I was upset. It won't happen again because Joe will be on the lookout and I will be too, and we'll go running in front of the pitcher. We have to. No, he's not going to do that again. I heard he said something like, "I played my game," but no, he doesn't. He plays the game of Major League Baseball that respects the game, respects the opponents, and that was not. And he's got to respect the signs. When he gets to take sign, he takes.
So yeah, if he blatantly disregarded a sign from his coach, I get it. You can't do that. Here's the 2-0 pitch, but I mean, I call bullspit in my personal opinion on the whole sign. Like Tony La Russa says, maybe he's looking at the sign there. I'll show this again. So the 2-0 pitch gets thrown. It's a position player pitching. The Twins have given up on the game. Does he look for the sign there? It's kind of too quick to maybe even get a sign. He barely even looks. He steps in. Now, Tony La Russa says at this point, he saw that he was digging in, and he ran up the top step because the horror, don't swing at this pitch. You'll get everyone mad at us. So Tony La Russa says he ran up the steps screaming, take, which, I mean, show me the footage. Otherwise, I really don't believe. I think he's exaggerating it for effect. And then he does swing at the 3-0 pitch, and he hits a home run, and that's the grave mistake that he made.
I actually apologized to the Twins. I sent the message over there, not acceptable. And
he apologized to the opponent because his player hit a home run after the opponent put a position player on the mound and said, "We don't care about this game anymore. We're not even going to try." He went and apologized.
Do you expect anything in retaliation of sorts from the Twins?
I'm hoping that they know that I was really upset with it. It shouldn't have happened. I hope it's enough.
So I think that's the crux of the whole thing. I think Tony La Russa is giving this ridiculously terrible optics interview, hoping that the Twins don't hit one of his players, and he's actually, in a pseudo way, defending his clubhouse by trying to get in front of it and saying, "I formally apologize to the Twins. It was a grave mistake. I ran up the steps to try and stop it. I'm so sorry. We should have never done that. So that his players don't get hit. I mean, that's what a lot of people are saying. It could be it. It's just a weird way to go about it, and I don't think it worked when you got his own players backing the player and not the coach. Tim Anderson says the game wasn't over. Keep doing you, Big Daddy. And Lance Lynn said, if a position player is on the mound, there are no rules. Let's get the damn game over with. And if you have a problem with whatever happened, then put a pitcher out there. If it's a pitcher whose stats are on the line and pitching in garbage time and like a young kid, sure, maybe let him get back in the count. Still don't really think so, but it's a fucking position player. The Twins gave up on the game. Anyway, the next game, Duffy's on the bump and he's breathing heavy because he got told by his Twins coaches that he has to hit Yermin. I don't think Duffy acted on his own. Phil Hughes was on the Pardon My Take podcast, talked about a time when he got told he had to hit someone.
It wasn't even like that. Like
Right.
It was, this guy was being an idiot, and our pitching coach came over and said, like, hey, next inning you got to hit this guy.
But
and I
then you-
didn't do it. I missed twice. I threw one right at him, and he somehow got out of the way.
Like
and
the
then the
Matrix.
next one, I'm like, okay, I got to go in a little bit more to get this guy. And it went behind him. And he was pissed. The manager got thrown out. He got thrown out, and I stayed in the game.
So, maybe Duffy acts on his own here, or maybe he got told by the coaches that he has to hit this guy, which I think is what happened. He throws behind him. Everyone kind of like, whoa, ooh, that guy gets a little fright. Right behind him, Yermin grabs a look at him right here and is like, oh, okay, maybe you guys are mad. And Duffy's like, ah, shit, I missed him. I'm going to have to hit him again. The umpires get together to figure out what's going on, and they say, you know what? Let's just get this guy out of here. This is a stupid situation. They throw him out. Me? All right. Tim Anderson says, get your ass out of here. Get out, pussy. Weak ass. Anderson's got his players back. Rocco comes up. The manager of the Twins says, you had the whole crew get together to make that decision? And that's what he's mad about. He says, you should have given one at the plate before the game, saying, like, hey, if you're going to throw him out just for throwing behind a guy, we should have got warnings before the game. Otherwise, you have to give warnings now. Also, you're the crew chief. Why did you need everyone else's help to make this decision? And he says, that is fucking bullshit. That is fucking bullshit. That's what he's mad about.
He's like, why'd you pull them all together? Like, give warnings out. You make the decisions. Kind of semantics. That is fucking bullshit. That is fucking wrong. That is fucking wrong. Okay? And then he's going to say, like, I don't care what they think. I don't care what anyone thinks. You're the home plate umpire. You should have made the call. Why'd you get your friends together? Which is kind of a weird argument, I think. So he gets tossed. But it's kind of a weird argument because it's like, well, they were trying to, like, put the brain trust. Get out. See you later. You're out. Goodbye. Bam. Bam, bam, bam. Stay mad. Rocco's out. He probably is a little mad. Tony La Russo's like, oh, wow. Okay, cool. Baseball. I'm doing the damn thing. I knew that would happen. I called it. Here's what he said after the game about this. It's bizarre.
Umpire's opinion. It wasn't obvious to me. Guy threw a sinker and, it didn't look good. So.
He said that it wasn't obvious to him that they threw at his player on purpose, even though his whole before the game preamble was to stop them from throwing at his hitters. This dude's just gatekeeping for his version of the sport of baseball and the umpires and the other team. I don't get.
I wasn't that suspicious. I'm suspicious somebody throws at somebody's head. And then I'm not suspicious. So I don't have a problem with how the Twins handled that.
He has no problem with how the Twins handled it. He only has a problem with how his team handled it, not the opposing team. I don't know, man. Just bizarre all around and stupid and just dumb. And this is the weirdest part of the whole interview. It didn't really have anything to do with the main storyline, but I wanted to throw it in here at the end because it's just funny. He was asked, are your players allowed to swing at 3-0 pitches and swing big in blowouts if they have a regular pitcher on the mound, not a position player? And he said this.
If you could do it differently, I'd send, and we didn't have to play position, I'd send 3 pitchers up there. Just stand there and tap the ball someplace.
He would send 3 pitchers out there and just tell them to tap the ball because he doesn't want to tell his own guys. He doesn't want to tell his hitters to go up there and get out on purpose. So if the other team sends a position player in a blowout, he'd just send up pitchers to hit because too many feelings are on the line. What are we doing? If you want the other team to stop trying, quit, I guess. Fuck, man.
I'm absolutely certain that the guy's not going to swing 3-0 in another situation. But I'm not going to tell you, I didn't try to spank him, he's too big and strong. And I didn't try to spank him, he's too big and strong. And I didn't try to spank him, he's too big and strong. And
叫我去帮你假装是不是？不要这样，你在讲，我不要，是被羞辱。为什么我不行？知道吗？对，要不然我都可以了。其实要我觉得香港是香港的看过，真的很想讲。我也看过200人的打羽球。我打完那时候只是那个王宇的想要当院长，所以什么都答应。到时候我跟你讲，我们这次还打电话跟那个谁，王宇打电话跟王宇告状，我就想说他现在说好像是他。 刚有一个啊，
哎呦，是哟。
就这个了。我知道他们叫怎么去啊？在那个海山店啊，在海山站。对啊。哎呦！当奥赛啊！有，我不会奥赛，但是你大架击球不会啊。所以就拿来用。
你会讲多少？
What's going on? I am Greg Sussman, and welcome to a very special edition of the FanDuel Hurry Up. Today, I'm joined by Joe Ranieri of Sports Grid as he takes a look at some betting 101 tips that'll help you become a better wagerer. Joe, how are you, sir?
I'm excited. It's a good time of year. It's a fun time of year right now.
Absolutely. So much going on, so much money for you to win as long as you're smart about it. So let's take a look at just exactly how you place a bet. We'll begin with placing a bet against the spread. What does that mean?
So a spread bet is just simply a bet against the margin of victory. That's really what a spread bet is. For instance, if you had, the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the San Francisco 49ers and they were a 3-point favorite, then as long as they won by more than 3 points, that being the Kansas City Chiefs, that's a winning bet. Or the San Francisco 49ers rather, not losing by at least 3 or more points, well, that would be a winning bet as well. So you're basically betting simply on the margin of victory. If it happens to tie, and let's say they win by just 3, that's what's called a push, and that means there's no action, and your ticket will be refunded.
That's how you bet against the spread, and that's how you'll make some money. Up next, Joe, what is the difference between a bet against the spread and a bet on the money line?
So betting on money line is the most common way to bet, certainly on, let's say, baseball and the NHL, where the margin of victory does not necessarily, spreads don't come into play nearly as much. You are simply betting on who you think is going to win the game. And the bigger the favorite, the more money it's going to cost you to back that favorite. And of course, the underdogs, we all know, in sports betting, especially if you're new, if a team is an underdog, chances are there's a little bit more money to be made if they win. So a money line bet is simply betting on who's going to win straight up.
On the money line, all you got to do is pick the winner straight up, and you'll be a winner. All right, Joe, up next for us, we have an over or under. We see a game total, but what does over-under mean?
Basically the same thing. The total or over-under, like you said, Greg, is simply how many runs or points are going to be scored combined in the contest. So in football, how many points are the Giants going to score? How many points are the Redskins going to score? Is it going to be over whatever that point total is, or is it going to be under what that point total is? So when it comes to totals and over-unders, you're simply trying to figure out that number of the amount of points or goals or runs or whatever it is, how many are going to be scored, and whether you think there's going to be more or less than that.
You're given a total. Do you believe the total will be higher or lower? That's how you bet on an over-under in today's market. Joe, what is a straight bet?
Straight bets, you see these a lot when it comes to prop bets or proposition bets, where you are betting something outside of the, like we just said, the spread, the side, the total. You're betting something else. Like, for instance, how many yards will Patrick Mahomes throw for? Will it be over 300 yards or under 300 yards? How many rushing yards will somebody have? How many points will an NBA player score? All of these types of things are very straightforward bets that have to do with that individual player or that individual team that's outside of a side or a total. So no winner or loser in these bets. Straight bets when it comes to proposition bets, that's simply on making the right play for that particular prop bet.
Just helps you out making a prop bet, understanding what you have to wager in order to win money. That is a straight bet. Now, you combine all of these bets, you get what's called a parlay. Why don't you explain that here, Joe?
So parlays allow you to combine multiple wagers into one bet. Now, these are often much better odds if you hit it. So a parlay is like, let's say, for instance, tonight I like the Brooklyn Nets, I like the Miami Heat, and I like the Lakers. And let's say I want to combine all three of those into a parlay. Well, that will pay 7-1, 8-1, depending on the book. But more importantly, guys, each one of those legs has to actually win. So it would be great. There's a lot of money to be had in a parlay if you pick each individual game correctly. You have one loser, then you've got a losing parlay.
Now, you can win more money when you combine multiple games into a parlay and hit them all right, rather than betting one each game by themselves. A parlay combines it all and gives you an opportunity to win more money. And then we have what's called a teaser, which is similar to a parlay, but just a little bit different. What's that, Joe?
So teaser betting involves two or more different point spreads or total wagers together. So, for instance, again, we'll use the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's say the Kansas City Chiefs were a 10-point favorite going up against the San Francisco 49ers. I could, let's say, take a 6-point teaser and take that number down from 10 to -4. And then I can do the same thing for the San Francisco 49ers, is take that +10 and make it a +16. So it allows you to go up or down however many points, 6-point teasers, 7-point teasers. You take that amount of points and you just add or you subtract it to whatever the total happens to be or the spread happens to be for that game. But much like a parlay, you need every bet to hit in order for you to cash. Bigger payouts, a little more risk.
That's right. Bigger payouts here when you combine all of these games, but there is the risk there. And of course, when you're teasing games up or down, the amount of money you can win changes as well. So make sure you understand that when you're placing your bets. That's going to do it for us here on the FanDuel Hurry Up. We hope you learned a little bit more about wagering and betting, and hopefully you'll win some money soon. Joe Ranieri, thanks so much for joining me.
Appreciate it, Greg. Good luck, guys.
Tomorrow we'll be joined by Jim Sonis and Davis Maddox as we take a look at the PGA Tour here for this week. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
You know, there's been numerous studies conducted to find out what highly successful football players have in common. Now, besides the obvious, talent and hard work, a number of surprising conclusions have come to light. And at the top of the list are how much support the athlete had at home. And, of course, the high quality of the coaching, which falls under the support. Now, I work with young athletes every day in my office, and I always start out by telling the parent how impressed I am by their recognition of the value of mental training. You know, just by bringing their young athlete to someone like me to learn this kind of stuff. You know, winning championships, scholarships, and even making a pro team, it's usually a team effort. The athlete, the family, the coaches. The NFL is filled with stories of athletes who were blessed with tons of talent, moved up the ranks only to self-destruct before reaching their full potential, or even before that in college, because they didn't have that kind of support at home, didn't learn how to be comfortable in their own skin. I get asked by parents regularly, what's the best thing I can do to help a young football player's mental preparation? I got to tell you, there's no cookie cutter mold for this. Every athlete's different. You must recognize that they're not little versions of you. And the kind of parental support offered to one athlete can be exactly the wrong thing that works well for a different athlete. But there are some universal principles that most, if not all, young football players can benefit from. And here they are. 1, goal setting for athletes. This is a proven tactic. This goes for any age group. Learning the basics of committing yourself to a goal is a very powerful life skill, in addition to a motivator to put in the work that is necessary to succeed in football. Parents and coaches are invaluable for assisting young players to move towards their goals step at a time. Lay it out. Pick goals that are specific and measurable. You know, like lead the team in tackles by the end of the season. Make the high school varsity team next season. Complete better than 50% of my passes all year. Goals need to be tough, but doable. Don't make them too easy or impossible to achieve. And they should have a time deadline. Finally, have the kid write them down in their own words, looking them off, and to help them get fired up about it and what they can get what's the benefit to them when they achieve that goal, and encourage the feelings that they'll get from achieving that goal. You know, it's the next thing is the easiest thing to do, and probably the best thing a parent and coach can do, you know, is to boost confidence and morale. But how to actually do it is another thing. You know, once in a blue moon telling the athlete they're good, that's not going to cut it. That's not enough. Parents and coaches, they need to make it a point to communicate 6 or more positive, encouraging statements to every critical one. 6 to 1 minimum. And this ratio comes from a study that tracked measurable performance in a business environment for adults. And so it's possible that an even higher ratio is recommended for kids. Don't be afraid to offer criticism here and there, constructive criticism, as long as it's done at the right time in the right place and it's balanced out with 6 or more to 1. Because kids have told me in my office hundreds of times they appreciate it when it comes across positively. And let your athlete make the most of his or her own decisions and how to do things, and take your advice. I'm constantly asked by parents how much to push a child. Sorry, there's no definitive answer. But the extremes of micromanaging and not on one hand and not caring at all, those don't work for sure. Now, to find out the sweet spot between those extremes, are you ready? Big mystery here. Just ask them. Son, what's the best way for me to support you? You can offer suggestions, let them pick if they say, I don't know. Be an active listener about it when an athlete has a disappointing or poor performance. You know, we always want to, as parents, just tell them how that problem needs to be fixed. Often the best course of action is simply acknowledge the athlete if they express the desire to talk in the first place, like right after a game. Many athletes do better by working it out themselves, believe it or not. You can pick up a clue that they might need help if after a week or more they're still sulking about a problem. Even then, you still want to ask if he wants to talk about it. Now, if your kid violates, family values with certain destructive behaviors, then certainly you step in and you don't need any permission for that. Sometimes it's a really fine line that we as parents walk, but all you really need to know here is for you to model what you want to see your kid to do. That's the most important way you can support your kid. I've witnessed some coaches with very little sports qualifications do amazing things in youth sports by following this simple rule. And I'm most impressed when I talk to a coach who wants me to come in and give a mental training workshop or talk for his team or league. And always remember this. Only about 2% of high school athletes become good enough to get an athletic scholarship. And most of those are partial scholarships, not full rides. So you need to understand, parents, the main reason for sports participation, for playing football at any age, is to learn life skills. And when they learn those life skills with your support, whoops, they play better. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. You're just learning life skills. Oops, got a scholarship. Sorry, you got into the pros. I like to make fun in my office like that when talking to parents. And 100% of football players and all athletes can learn life skills, whether they get to the pros or not.